But what's the difference, say, internationally, maybe? Is there? You've always said there isn't really a Canadian brand. There isn't anything that distinguishes.
Not so much. I mean,
Canadian art necessarily, but I mean.
Well, what I'd like to think would come out of Canada more would be maybe identity-based ideas, which, of course, there are many, as well as internationally. But in the globalized world we living in today, Canada, being outside of our Aboriginal population, a nation of immigrants, we've been living the global reality a lot more profoundly and longer than many other countries. And it took us a while as Canadians, artists anyways, to get out of that always referencing the landscape. It was amazing to me, even maybe 15 years ago, how everything somehow was tied to the land, even if it was like an urban landscape. There was always something about the land and the geography or something like that, and an infinite amount of ideas could evolve out of that. But now, I think an idea of that, identity-based art is many artists are working in that area in ways that I think are new, and at the edge of thinking of today and the world we live in.
Well, there is a case to be made for, if we want to use the phrase postmodernism, we've had that around for about 40, 50 years now. But I think it's Donald Cuthbert came up with the notion that if you have postmodernism, then you can also have post-art. And he said, if you have post-art, then you have post-artist. So I think the identity and the nature of what an artist is very different. And part of it, I think, is, touches on what we started talking about art being participatory and more spectacle-oriented. Artists now are sort of crossing over, and the functions of a gallery, of a writer or curator and an artist kind of mesh together. In a way, art is presented as a teamwork, and it used to be a very solitary profession. And I think that's changed the nature and identity of what an artist is.
Relational aesthetics, is that what they're calling it?
Well, I'm not sure if it's really relational. I think aesthetics itself, as an issue, is a broader, deeper, goes further, and I think I think it should actually be reinvestigated what the meaning is. It's lost all meaning in terms of art.
So
aesthetics itself has
aesthetics has?
Yeah, but
it's lost meaning or shifted meaning?
No, it has lost meaning in a way. It's that art has moved out of, it's become idea-based basically a lot more, and
conceptual. I think that was, again, that's a lot like, in the 70s, you were talking about the, decentralization of the object or de-objectification.
Well, the focus of
art
has broken down. Well, it is broken down and fragmented, and the disciplines, the artist disciplines, are much more. Let's say you have to cooperate with many more people to get the art from the studio to the actual to be seen, and the art fairs are part of it. So the whole process, the artist is involved and works with many more people to get it out. It used to be an artist used to do the art, never worry about the marketing of it, if you will. And that end of it, artists now coming out of schools are really very knowledgeable about how the art gets to the public. And that was not so like 20, 30 years ago.
Well, because it's a full-on industry now. You think of how many artists before 1970 had graduate degrees.
Right.
I would say almost none. And how many since 1970? I'd say there's almost no artist working today, or in Canada anyways, that doesn't have a graduate degree. And art has become much more of an industry, if you will. How many art schools were there in 1970? Now, how many art schools? Like tens of thousands of people, art students graduate every year, and that sheer mass and through sheer human invention has created this thriving industry out of it all. I think it's quite new and remarkable.
I guess my point being also that an artist is not simply an artist. Artist, if you scratch any person working in that industry, and they might be a curator, they might be a writer, but they're also an artist. That's what I'm saying. There are multiple. Artists do multiple things, and there's a kind of an interdisciplinary aspect to art now, and I think that's where it's gone. Would you agree?
Well, it'd be no fun if I did. I'm trying to
So
think
Dave
of
was an
something
artist,
too.
right?
Well, yes. I would, as an artist, I would have to agree with everything he just said. Yeah, you see, I'm so multidisciplinary that my artwork's almost got nothing to do with anything I do anymore. That's how ahead of the curve I am, Steve.
Good. We're going to move along and talk about artist-run centers and how they have changed and how they compare now with sort of new institutes of contemporary art. Maybe Gary, you can start this one off.
Well, we're going to find out, actually. We have a national conference in Ottawa at the beginning of November to address this very question. And I'll know a lot more about the answer at that time.
What do you have for us now?
Well, I think, actually the interesting thing is, you've made reference to the, the economic meltdown. And, and I think that predicting the future of artist-run centers is about the same as predicting the future of the economy right now. We're at a very interesting time period. Artist-run centers were for many years reliant strictly on government grants, and many of us have made some headway in terms of getting more involved in fundraising and in sponsorships and donors, as well as in different ways of engaging audiences. Like it was very much that an artist-run center would, simply be a space and a place where an artist could have control of the space to present their work, and whether the public came or not was less of an issue. And for a whole host of factors, besides, things like the need for, financial support for the center, people really are, it's like we've been doing this for 30 years, you just don't want to put up art just to talk to each other, you really want to engage an artist, an audience. And
do you want to, or is that pressure coming down from the funding agencies?
Well, the pressure has...
Audience development.
The pressure has...
A catchphrase on all grant forms, just to let you know.
Yeah.
It's a term
I remember
still
when...
haven't figured out what it means yet. But.
Yeah, I remember when the Toronto Arts Council forms actually said on them, we do not fund, I think it was like one of those things in red letters somewhere, we do not fund educational programs. Now we have to fill out, besides all our programming and our budgets and everything else, there's a space on every grant application for education programs. And, the fascinating thing about that is 30 or 40% of the province's budget goes to education. They're not teaching art in the schools anymore. And then you've got underfunded artist-run centers.
They're passing the buck down. But let me ask you, sorry.
But having, yes, that is a condition, but then, I think, just like you said something about community, you would accept the idea
we're a
that you're
public
a community
institution.
center.
I think that's a different function than an artist-run center.